this time of year than maybe last year, where you're going in and it's about to start and everything, just more comfort?
Yeah, the comfort is a big one. I feel like I've talked about that a good bit, of like, that yielding a lot of confidence and being able to play free, and just like, when you're comfortable, you're going to play faster. And so I've definitely been enjoying that through preseason, off-season, and then now I get to see that come to fruition during the season itself. So,
how do you think you've developed as a pass catcher?
This last season, or
just throughout the offseason, what you learned from last year when you were at Illinois? You didn't have a ton of receptions, and last year as well, but at least in the preseason game, you were targeted a handful of times. Like, how do you think you've developed?
Yeah, honestly, I feel pretty consistent. I feel like you're never just wanting to not develop and not keep going. So, to your point, like I stay on my normal routine of getting a certain number of balls every day and working different angles and training my eyes. It's like it's training your hands, but it's a lot of training your eyes to track it. And anytime I have drops or weird things, it's usually my eyes that are undisciplined. So just keeping those things disciplined and through my normal routine that I did in college, and like senior year, 0 drops and that kind of thing. Just trying to remain a really reliable target, because when the balls come, they're seldom, and that's fine. My role, that's fine. That's not I'm not laughing at that like a bad thing. They're seldom, but that's my role, right? Because my role is the run game and pass pro and stuff like that, really forefront. But when they do come, being super reliable, a good target for Kyler to get the ball away, or Jacoby if he's in, or whatever. So,
when did you finally become comfortable with that, kind of knowing that that's your role and that's what it's going to be really going forward, just primarily a physical blocker, and then catches could come here and there?
Probably senior year of college. Yeah, I stepped into that and was like, all right, this is the role I'll be, that big Y tight end in the league, and pursuing that. That was probably senior year of college, I'd say. And then it's just grown. I enjoy this. So, last year and this year, I'm excited for this and hopefully a lot of years to come.
Yeah, you've earned the reputation of being, physical and kind of the enforcer in the tight end room. I think in that Chiefs game, I think you got a 15-yard personal foul penalty. How do you kind of balance being an enforcer and being really physical and not getting 15-yard penalties? Are you confident of what the line is you could cross?
Yeah, it's a fine line, right? Yeah, but I should have known better than that. But also, that some things are just to kind of put the energy out there with the offense, and also with myself, like set the tone, set the standard of what I want to hold myself to, because I put that on tape, right? So now everyone knows about that, and I know about that, and so I know that's my standard of physicality, motor, and violence to live up to every day. And that's just me. That's another one to going back to the first question of being comfortable, that I'm a little bit less thinking about technique and schematics, this year, rather than that's all I was thinking about last year, and just trying to remember everything and try to do it the right way. And it's a little bit more natural now, so I can kind of just let loose and be me, and that's a pretty effort forward, violent forward person. And so towing the line and not crossing it, that's just trial and error a little bit, as we can see. But yeah, and you'd rather say whoa than sick 'em. So I want to live by that.
What's it mean to have Paris and the rest of the O-line trying to compete with you on the knockdown blocks?
They're good dudes. It's nice of them to say. It's going to be hard to compete with all of those beasts. That's a big task. They're really good at what they do. That's why they're here.
How emotional and mentally taxing is it the next couple of days when guys are leaving, guys are getting cut and released? How tough is that on you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because you go through the whole offseason with these guys. You battle it out, alongside them or across the ball. And you see a lot of guys making a lot of progress, or you make good plays, all this stuff. And they're your teammates, for, 6 months or whatever. And so as teammates, we build that bond and build that culture. So when they get cut, this 48 hours is really tough. And so you wish them the best, and there's only so much you can do, right? But, yeah, definitely definitely a tough time of year for everybody involved, right? So it's tough. There's not a whole lot to say about it other than like it kind of sucks.
This seems like this team, this offense seems like an absolutely perfect fit for you, both with the emphasis on motor and violence, then playing 2 and 3 tight ends so often. Did you know that when you got drafted here that this was a perfect fit, or did you kind of realize that as you went through last year?
The latter, yeah. I didn't know it prior to, and then figuring it out once I got here and learning the system, I was like, oh man, thank you, Lord. This is a great scenario. Thank you, Lord, that it worked out this way. So, it was meant to be exactly how it is. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah, it's a good question.
There's clearly a switch that flips with you because you're so mild-mannered. I mean, you can do pottery one day and then bury someone into the ground the next. Like, when does that switch flip? Is that game day? Is it driving to the stadium? Is it when you set foot in the locker room? When does that happen for you?
That's a good question. That's kind of how I describe it too. It's a switch. Honestly, it's right before the play. It's like right when I'm out there, right before, like I visualize pre-game or pre-play getting up to the line. Kind of, it all depends on what the defense is doing too, because there's a couple different things that you might have to do. But I'm visualizing what I'm about to do, and then it sets in, and then it's time to go, and then I'm there. But for right now, it's all smiles and we're light. But right before, and I can get to the sideline and have a laugh or whatever, or if we're in the huddle, have a laugh. But then it's like, and then it's time to lock in and go and smash somebody's face in.
It looks like no one's out there right now. Just thinking about it. But what is more fun for you to make a catch or smash somebody's face in where the rest of the team is going crazy?
That's a good question. I enjoy them both a lot. Both are part of my job description too. So it's like, how can you pick one over the other? But what I do the most, so I get to enjoy the most, would be just the run blocking downhill, lots of violence and aggression kind of thing. But both are a lot of fun.
When you're trying to avoid a block that got you a penalty, do you think about it, or are you just kind of
trying to avoid a penalty?
Yeah. Are you thinking about I can go this far, or are you just doing it and then kind of reacting?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just you're trained or you're untrained, and you at this point in your career, it should be pretty automatic when you know what a penalty feels like almost, and so it's just ingrained. You don't really have to think about it. And I knew it was borderline against Kansas City, but it was like I was excited to go anyway. But yeah, to answer your question, you're trained or you're untrained, and we're trained, and so we know what it feels like immediately. And so it's just not a lot of thought, you just kind of know.
Tim, as you enter your second year, just what was your NFL moment if you look back at it?
NFL, welcome to the NFL? Yeah, it's a good question. I've been asked this one before, and I struggle finding one. Because there's a lot of little moments where sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and I've been the nail, and it's not as much fun, but there hasn't been one that's just like, oh my gosh, open my eyes kind of moment, It's just a bunch of little moments where you see these guys are really good, and now I'm really good, and I keep myself at that same standard, but there are the realizations of, man, everybody's awesome. So
Is this as difficult as you thought it would be?
The NFL? Yeah. I figured everyone here was an incredible athlete and really good at their craft, and I was right. And they all are. And so it's really fun though, because who doesn't want to go against the best in the world and prove yourself to be the best in the world at what you do? Like that's a cool opportunity.
You've been with Isaiah for a while now, dating back to Illinois. What have you seen from him going in here too?
Similar to what we've talked about so far of the confidence and comfortability and everything. It seems like we're both kind of on that trend, and then when we're both confident, we're both comfy, then we can let loose. And he's a really similar player as far as the strain and the grit and the toughness and everything. And that's how we were trained too at Illinois. That's what comes out of Illinois under Coach Bielema. And so tough, smart, dependable. It bleeds out of us, and that's what they preach there, and they live it. So it's no surprise to see him on the same track of that.
You Talking about your development as a pass catcher, where do you feel like you've developed over this last 8-9 months as a blocker?
It's a good question. I think consistency of my hands and feet in the run game and in pass pro. I think pass pro used to be pretty ugly, and this year I have taken some good strides on that and better technically, as well as technically in the run game, because I made up for a lot of things these last years of my life, college and pro, in just out efforting people, as well as just out straining, and being stronger than certain people. And so the effort and strain got me a lot of places, but as people learn how I play, they're going to develop things to combat what I do. And so I need to be technically better. And so that's a good question, is technical proficiency has been a really big key for me this offseason. I feel like I've been able to display that. Still a long road to go. You got guys like Beach and Calais that so many tools in their bag and just super proficient. So it's really cool to watch people like that and look for like, man, I can be like that in the tight end realm, as far as my technique and as far as my specificity on every single play of what I'm looking to do. So that I'm just trying to trend towards that with my technique, but letting my technique be as good as I possibly can with my strain and with my aggression. I think that will couple to make a good wide tight end.
When you came to the realization your senior year that this would be your role in the NFL, and coming to the acceptance that maybe you wouldn't be seeing a lot of pass catching opportunities, was that like a hard thing for you to give up and relinquish, or was it just, this is who I am, I'm going to embrace that?
That's a good question. I don't know if it was a hard thing, as like I never felt like I was ever really in the limelight or anything, coming from a walk-on and then like working my way, being a Y tight end rather than more of an F tight end. So I never felt like I had the limelight to like give away, you know what I mean? So I felt like it was just kind of a realization of like, oh, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, let me double down on X, Y, Z. And yeah, if that answers it.
Did you ever have a moment where, like a favorite moment, favorite block or something that sprung James or some of your playmakers behind you?
Any of them where it's a big impact are a lot of fun. I like when I have good technique and I'm really focusing on it and I actually do it, and it opens up a big gap for somebody. Not one in particular comes to mind, but there are a few that were some bigger impacts or some bigger cuts or different things that last year I enjoyed a lot.
Do you know in the moment, like you said, you like when you have good technique and you're springing somebody, do you know in the moment that you have that good technique? I mean, you're going to know you sprung somebody, but do you have to go back and watch the film to say, oh, this is why I did it? Or do you
feel
know
it? Yeah, you feel it immediately. That's a good question. You feel it immediately. It's kind of like when you're asking me, like, do you have to think about the penalty stuff? It's just you're trained or untrained, and when you're trained, it's like you feel that, and it's almost like if you were to just have a Lego right here and you just had another one, you slapped it down, it was perfect. You didn't have to fumble with it at all and get it on. It was like, oh, you felt that it was in the groove, it was perfect. So you're throwing pots and it's just right there, it's perfect. You just know it when you feel it, man. Know it.
Tim, well, you mentioned pass pro earlier. How much communication goes on between you and the tackle next to you in pass pro?
In a given play?
Yeah, on the line of scrimmage, before the play, that kind of thing.
We all kind of have rules, so really not a lot. There's a couple plays that if they give us a certain look, there's a couple calls that can be made. But typically like we could do things pretty silently, and we try to as best we can, because you get some vets at D end, they know our calls. So, you want to say as little as possible if you can, or say it as you're getting to the line so they can't hear.
And Tip, what's your vantage point going up against some of these defensive guys, and especially the younger guys, the rookies like Jordan Burge and all those dudes?
Oh, Jordan's awesome. And all the rookies, I feel like they uphold what JG and Monty talk about, of like guys that take it seriously, have their head on straight, know how to win, know how to practice. are good culturally for our team culture. Those guys that practicing against them, they do a great job. They're learning the ropes really fast. I feel like they've transitioned really well and are going to be great assets to our team, as we go.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you, guys.
I'm good. How are you doing? Good.
You ready for games to start for real here?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I feel like it's definitely that time, and I'm looking forward to. I need these 2 weeks to go by fast so we can get going.
Is it tough to go through this process? I mean, I know you guys got some snaps in that first game, but then you kind of get shut down game-wise. Like, is that tough? I mean, I'm sure you understand it and all that stuff, but on game days, do you feel left out a little bit?
Not really, especially for me, because I mean, even rookie year, I didn't get preseason. I didn't play in preseason last year either. So like, this is my first time playing this year. I'm saying, my third year, so I don't really think of it any different. I think when it's time to play, it's time to play. You just go from there.
These next 24 hours or so, with guys getting cut and released on the team.
Yeah, it's always tough just because you spend a lot of time together with these guys, and so when you know that not everybody's going to be there the following day, it's always difficult. But I think the good part about it is that you're just building more friendships and relationships that's kind of last outside of just being on the team.
What's your message to some of the guys that might not be here after the cuts?
Yeah, we were just talking about in our position meeting room, and I was just saying the biggest thing is just take everything that we talked about and apply it wherever you're at, and just kind of just be intentional about what you're trying to be as a person and player. Kind of all the stuff we preach in our own room, just take that anywhere you go.
You talked about how you've had to grow as a leader, especially with all the injuries to your room. What are you doing during a preseason game when a bunch of your teammates, especially in the corners room, are out on the field? When they come back off the field, are you talking to them, or what's kind of going on for you on a game day during the preseason?
Oh yeah, I'm tapped in. I'm watching. I'm on the side. I'm trying to help out as much as I can, especially just because like I'm cool with them just from a non-football perspective too. So it's like you want to make sure that they're playing good, so you want to help out as much as you can.
You mentioned that you hadn't played in the preseason before. JG had said the other day after the game that one of the things he has changed is having the rookies play in the preseason more than in the past. When you look back as a rookie, do you think I kind of wish I would have had a few snaps that year?
Nah, I feel like everything played out exactly how I was supposed to. And I was hurt, and I was coming off injury, so I wouldn't have been able to do it regardless. But, yeah, no, I didn't think too much of it. I think, everybody's ready when they're ready to go.
A lot of additions to the defense overall. How do you think you guys are kind of playing together now through camp and preseason as you turn the page to the regular season?
I feel like we're starting to mesh really well. And I think one of the big things is, like, from a personality standpoint, if everybody's getting comfortable – getting used to each other, and then honestly just building that trust to where everybody feels comfortable enough to be themselves, be open, and things like that, not just from a football standpoint, from just the off the field, because I feel like everything on the field is kind of like a byproduct of how you guys are off the field together. So I think it's good that we're all starting to really mesh and get cool with each other and link up.
When you look at Calais coming in 18th year, you see 6'8", he can knock the ball up in the air and knock it every which way. Does that kind of get you thinking about potential? I mean, there's going to be a lot of probably batted balls and opportunities for you guys to kind of go get.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like that's been our biggest thing we've been preaching in the secondary, is just getting the ball more. And so having guys up front who are going to create even more opportunities for us, I think it should only make us more excited. And I think rush and cover, so we're just going to work together as a defense and just make it happen.
At what point do you start looking at week one, or have you just been waiting for it this entire time? Like when you start scouting what the Saints bring to the table?
Yeah, I'll watch a little bit of like this week, but really I try to just stay on like the same kind of just the week before the game, go from there. I feel like in the past when I've had like first games, I've tried to watch too much going into it, but it's the first game, so you don't really know what they're going to do anyway. So I kind of just try to just focus on what really matters, really more just getting myself ready and prepared, and then after that, get with the coaches, teammates, and then we just get into it.
Is there such a thing as watching too much film?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because you can you turn into a robot, and you get on the field and you start guessing and things like that. But, football is really instinctual. You got to trust what you've seen, but also just be able to just play the game.
Did it take you a while to learn that? Like the 3 or 4 days up into all studied, but there can be too much of a good thing.
Yeah, that happened to me a lot, especially like in college when I first started like really studying film, because you don't really. I feel like there's like levels to watching film, and at first I was just kind of watching everything, not really knowing what to look for, and I feel like I'd go into games thinking I knew a lot, but then in the midst of the game I'm not even processing any of the stuff I watched. So it's definitely about like taking it piece by piece, day by day, and just kind of taking like the big points from each day, so then in the game you can kind of have your like couple of things that you really, really feel comfortable knowing going in, and then after that you kind of just play.
You came in, you were part of the first group as clearly Monty and JG wanted to kind of overhaul the cornerback room, as we've seen with all the draft picks and all the new faces. Now that we're to that point where it seems like they've built it out to where they want, is there any kind of excitement for you to see what this kind of vision looks like now that they've had these couple of years, 3 years to build up your room?
Yeah, and then also it's just cool just knowing that I was with the original group, so kind of see each year the progression, and then all the things they talk about, you kind of to be able to see the things they were saying and then seeing the actions behind it, see how it kind of works together. It also helps just from like a player to coach standpoint, trusting that they know what they're doing, that they have a plan, and that we're all on the same page about the direction we're trying to go.
Now, in your third year in this system, what is your favorite part about Nick's defense?
I think just the freedom as a player. Like we play within a bunch of rules, but I feel like at its whole, like you're allowed to kind of just still be you, and you're not going to overthink too much. I feel like they do a lot of the thinking for us, and they kind of just leave it open for us to be able to just make plays and do what we're brought here to do.
How much more comfortable is he with play calling and you guys just taking it in?
I feel like each year, like it's been a progression, because I feel like if I remember right, this was his first time being a coordinator too when he came in. So I think that's the cool thing again of being here from the beginning, is kind of seeing his comfort as a play caller from year one to now, and then also his comfort with us as players, kind of knowing us well, knowing what we do well, knowing where we might not be our best at, and knowing how he puts it together, put us all in the best spots to make plays.
When you look at the improvements that the defense have made on the defensive line and putting pressure on the quarterback, as a DB, what kind of opportunities can that present for you guys? And especially when, these first early games, especially New Orleans, it's going to be a young quarterback no matter who they pick, knowing that those can create some opportunities for you guys.
Yeah, again, I think it's just the big thing about it is it's good to know we have proven guys. And then on top of that, having the younger guys who you've already seen enough in practice to kind of know that in the game they're going to be able to turn it up even more. And I think, again, just the rush and cover aspect of it, and just knowing that the ball is going to be there and that our job is to capitalize on it. And I think if we both do our jobs, I think everybody will be happy.
What's it been like guarding Marv now, him in year 2 as well? Does he added a lot to his game? We talked about the weight. How does that all kind of translate to the grass? I feel like all the work he's put in the offseason is really showing up, and I think he's just taking steps from last year to this year, and then each day being intentional, just being the player that he knows he wants to be, and the player that we all think he can be too. So I think it's been really cool to guard him. I feel like I've gotten a lot better guarding him, just especially a bigger receiver, guy who still can move well, things like that. So it's been really cool. It's been a good experience.